Hey guys, this is Mitch with FindPoint CGI, and today we're going to talk about integrating Facebook advertisements into Godot. So we're going to talk about the Facebook ads plugin. We're going to go ahead and set it up so that we can build that Facebook plugin. We're going to set it up because most of the code is actually set up for us. Then we're going to do a little bit of testing and setting up in Facebook. And then we are going to go ahead and go over all of the code that Facebook advertisement offers and how it works on a fundamental level. So that way we can actually understand how the link is made between the Java code and the Godot code. So I kind of run you guys through that a little bit and we have a small conversation on that. I don't get into any actual Java code, but I do give you guys a little bit of information on that. So that's what I have in store for you guys today. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is the add-on that we're going to be using to interact with our Facebook audience network. So we're going to be using the Godot fan add-on created by Mr. Zach-Dev. This is a really cool add-on and he has a lot of code that's just built in that makes this really simple for us. So we're going to go ahead and download this. So let's click on our little green code icon and click on download zip. Now I've already downloaded it, so it's going to be pretty quick. Actually, I've downloaded it 3 times because I had some corruption go on with my recordings. So of course, right? So we're going to go ahead and hit extract all, and we are going to extract. All right, so now that we have the add-on here, let's go ahead and start our Godot project. So let's go ahead and start Godot. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to go to project. We are going to install our Android build template if you haven't already. So we'll go ahead and install that, and we're going to click install, and that's going to uncompress our Android build sources. So it should take a few seconds, and we will have those real quick. Now from here, we can go ahead and go to our project, export. Let's add in our Android export, and let's come in here and turn on custom build right here. So go ahead and click on our checkbox right there. And from here, we have everything that we need to get started with putting in our add-on. So we'll go ahead and click close. We're going to right click right here, and we are going to go ahead and click open in file manager, and that will go ahead and open up our project. So we'll go ahead and click on Android right here, and we will stay right here. We're going to go out to our Godot fan project that we've exported here, and you can see I've extracted it right here. So we'll go ahead and go into our Godot fan, and we need to grab our Godot fan folder. We're going to go ahead and click Control C and Control V. And what that's going to do is that's going to copy and paste it into our Android folder. Now, one of the coolest things about the Godot fan add-on is it actually taught me something. So prior to using this add-on, I always thought you needed to compile all of your add-ons into these binary files that Godot can use. But it turns out that you can just paste it in here with your build.gradle file, your little Gradle config file, and it'll actually build it on build. It'll actually build it with the Gradle config, and it'll use that as like a settings file almost. So it actually saves a lot of trouble for us, and it's a new way of interacting with Godot, and I didn't even know that was a thing. You can still compile it as a binary and drop it in and use it as a plugin, but this is another way of handling it, and it's actually a really cool way to do it. So we're going to go ahead and go back to Android, and we have all this set up and everything's good to go here. So we're going to go back into Godot, and we can see that we have our Godot fan project right here. Now we do need to do some setup here. What we're going to do is we're going to go up to our project settings, and then we are going to scroll down until we get to compression right here. And we are going to go to Android, and you'll see that we have a section here called modules. And these are all of the modules that your project has. Now, the easiest way to know what your module is going to be named is to actually go ahead and look at that Godot fan Java project. If we actually go ahead and we open it with Visual Studio Code, we open this up. You can see that it opened up my C# tutorial. But if we go ahead and we take a look at it, you can see that we are part of the package org Godot engine.godot, and then we are the Godot fan class. So we need to call out this section here inside of Godot. So we'll paste that in, and we will need to change these to slashes to tell Godot where it needs to look. And we need to go ahead and call out our class. So we'll say Godot fan. Now, what this does is it tells Godot, hey, I need to go into the org Godot engine Godot location, and I need to find the Godot fan. And I need to make sure that I include this with my build, if that makes sense. So now we can go ahead and close this, and we can go and create a 2D scene. Now, from here, we have a couple of options. We can either build our entire plugin from scratch and do all of our hooks and things like that. Or the developer of this little plugin has actually put in one for us. So if we come up to our ads example, so we can just take this and bring it into our project. So if I open up our Godot ads tutorial and I copy this and I paste it in, now when I go into Godot, you can see that I have a little GD script. Now this GD script has 90% of this stuff hooked up for us, so we don't have to do it. So I'm going to go ahead with this, and then I will walk back and explain to you how all of this works. So if you guys want to do it yourself, you guys can. So we'll go up to our project settings. We'll go ahead and go into our auto load, and we will go ahead and add Facebook ads as our singleton here. So we'll go ahead and add that. And what that's going to do is that's going to create a singleton for us to be able to call when we want to do our Facebook advertisements. So we can just type Facebook ads dot, and then we can have access to all of the functions inside of here. It's a really cool way to have repeatable patterns that you don't have to have a bunch of object references. So from here, what we need to do is we need to go ahead and create a ads manager. So we have our Facebook ads, but we don't have an ad manager in the scene. So let's go ahead and right click our Node 2D. Let's attach a script and call it ads manager. Go ahead and add that in. And then we need to do some fancy calls here. Well, they're not really fancy, but they're fancy enough. So what we can do is we can right click on our Node 2D, add in a child node. Let's add in a button. And that's going to allow us to have a button that we can test our banner ads with. We're going to go ahead and duplicate that and do the same thing down here and duplicate it one more time and drag it down here. And we're going to call this our banner button. We are going to call this one our interstitial button. And we are going to call this our rewards button. All right. Now we're going to need to link all of these back to our script here. So we're going to change our text and call it banner. And we're going to go to our node and we're going to say on button down. Go ahead and connect to our node 2D. That's going to create our function down here. Now that's going to create a signal. And it's going to connect our button with that specific function. So that way we can call this code when that button's clicked. So we'll come to our enter button. We'll do the same thing. So we're going to call this enter because I can't spell interstitial to save my life. We'll go to node, we'll click button down, and then we'll go ahead and add that function in as well. And we'll go to our rewards, do the same thing, button down, on rewards button, and we'll go ahead and add reward. All right, let's go ahead and save our scene. And I'm just going to save it as node 2D because I'm a heathen and I don't really need to save it as a specific name. And what we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, when you press your banner button, we need to show our Facebook ads, right? So Facebook ads dot show Facebook banner, right? And then we need to go ahead and wait a period of time, because we want our ads to show up for a little bit of time, and then we want it to hide, right? So that way we can serve another ad to them. So they can click the button and it'll show them another ad, right? So we can say yield get underscore tree dot create timer, and we're going to give them a 10-second timeout, right? And we'll say we're going to wait for our timeout function here, and then we're going to go ahead and hide that banner. Simple enough. Now, from here, we have to hook up our interstitial advertisement. So if we come in here and we go ahead and just legitimately type Facebook ads dot show interstitial, that's all we need to do. And if we come down here, we could just type Facebook ads dot show reward. And that's all we really need to do to hook up our little class here. And that's it. That's how simple this guy has made our system. Now, there's some more additional setup that we're going to need to do, but for the most part, that handles a large sum of our work here. Now we just need to go ahead and set up our Facebook ads here. So if we scroll up to the top, you'll see there's a section here where it says, hey, I need these advertisement IDs. So we're going to need to go to Facebook and pull those advertisement IDs. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to go ahead and open up our Facebook monetization manager here, and you can see that I actually have a couple of properties here already built. You can actually see I've recorded this advertisement tutorial once already, but that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new property, and we're going to call it Facebook ads tutorial 2. We'll go ahead and create that property. And we're going to go ahead and go down to Android, and we are going to say, yeah, that's good. It's all good. And we are going to go ahead and click next. If you have a app out on Google Play, you can put your URL here, your app name, and your platform here, and that will link it up. So that way Facebook will send you actual advertisements. Once your app is verified on Facebook, then you are eligible to make money for it. If you don't fill this in, you will not get advertisements unless your application device is in the testing device section, which I will show you guys once we're done setting all this up. So just to keep that in mind, fill this in or you won't be making any money or get advertisements, and nothing will work unless you have your device in the testing application section. Okay? So let's go ahead and click next and add a payment account. Generally, they won't give you money unless you add a payment account. I don't need it, so we're going to click next. And here we get to pick our first advertisement. And I always start with banner. That's just how I do all my tutorials. So we'll click on banner. We're going to click next. All right, so you'll see an error occurred when we do this, but we got null. I don't know if I'm worried about that. Let's see. Yeah, my email hasn't been confirmed. That's fine. Yeah, we should be good. So if we go back home and we come down here, we click on our 3 dots and we go to manage property. You can see that we already have an Android ad space, and that was created by default by Facebook. So we can go ahead and click on that. And you can see that we have our banner here. So you can see that our display format is banner. It is ready to publish, which is cool. And we accept any price. And this is something that Facebook does, is it allows us to bid for a specific price. Well, it allows other people to bid on our app for a specific price. Most of the time, I just accept any price because I don't really care, right? As long as I'm getting money, who cares, right? But some people are like, I don't want you to serve ads to me if you're not going to get me X amount of dollars per 1,000 views, right? So that's just something that you're going to have to square away with yourself on how you want to handle it. So you can see here we got a placement ID. If we click on this, we can get our code. So we'll go ahead and copy that. I'll go ahead and open up Godot here. And we will go ahead and go into our banner placement ID. I will paste that in Control S. We're going to go back to our monetization manager. We're going to create a new placement, and we need to go ahead and name it, and I will call it inner because I actually already did this once. And we will come, whoops, please, inner, and we will go ahead and call it an interstitial advertisement. We're going to scroll down, and we can do what's called frequency capping. So if a person's playing your game and you don't want them to see advertisements after X amount of advertisements per hour, then you could set that up so that a person may not see advertisements if they play your game a lot. That can encourage people to play the game a lot because it reduces the amount of advertisements that they see in an hour. So it can be really useful for you because instead of targeting them every single level, you're targeting them X amount of times per hour. So it can be easier to kind of hook your player into playing your game without getting hit with advertisements as much. Now you can see here that we have waterfall pricing, which is saying, hey, you can actually select a price and then they will deliver ranges higher and lower, but it'll be within that range, right? So it's really nice if you're trying to make a specific target CPM, you can actually set that here. But we're going to go ahead and click create placement. And you can see that we now have our placement here. So I'm going to go over here. You can see that we're accepting any price and it's an interstitial format. So we'll grab that code right here. We'll copy that. We're going to go back to Godot and we'll go ahead and paste that in right here. Go ahead and save and tab back over. And finally, we got to create our last one, which is our banner or our reward advertisement. So we'll go ahead and call this reward. And we will scroll down here and do a reward video. And I'm good with whatever. And we will go ahead and create that placement as well. So you can see we've already created it. So we'll go ahead and copy that placement ID. We'll tab back in here and paste it in. So now we have all of our ads set up right here. It's all done, right? So now if we were to run this on our phone, we wouldn't get any advertisements. Why is that, right? Well, the reason why is because we haven't officially released our application. So Facebook will not deliver advertisements that are real until you release your application. So what you need to do is you need to set up your application to be a device, to be a test device. So if we go back to Facebook and we go over to testing, you will see that there is a section here for testing. Now go ahead and turn on testing enabled and come down here and enter your device's IDFA or AAID. What that is it's your unique identifier that Google and iOS uses to find your advertisement ID. Now, in my case, on my specific phone, my advertisement ID is located if I flick up and I come down here to my settings, and then I scroll down like this, and I go and I find Google, and I click on Google, and then I scroll all the way down. You can see there's Find.Point CGI, there's my Gmail, and you scroll down, you can see ads, click on ads. You can scroll down, you can see right here is my unique advertising ID. Now I can just reset it and regenerate my ID at any time. It's not something that's safe or anything that's dangerous. It just has some of your personalized information, things that you look at, things like that. So if you're a big security conscious person, don't show this on the internet, but I'm a YouTuber, so I'm just going to show it on the internet. It's fine. But that's something that you will need to input into this box right here. Okay, and then you got to put your name. In my case, there's my name. Now from here, we need to select the advertisement type that we're going to show. So if we click on select ad type, you can see we have a bunch of different choices here, and all of them are super useful. In my case, I'm just going to use an image because it's the simplest and it just it's just easy to test your stuff. So if you just click test image, bam, it's done. Now, when you load your application onto your phone, you can go ahead and just start using it. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me go grab my USB cable and hook my phone up, and we'll go from there. Okay, so now that I have it plugged in, you can see USB debugging has kicked in. If I go ahead and I come up here and I click on my little Android guy here, if you don't have that, you need to make sure that you have USB debugging on, and you need to make sure that your phone is in developer mode. The only way to do that, and I'm going to make a short on this shortly, but the only way to do that is to come in here, go into your About Pixel, and scroll down. There's a section where you can see your build number. If you tap that a bunch of times, in my case, I don't need to, I'm already a developer, but if you tap that a lot, it'll enable developer mode, and then you can go and find your developer options. I forget where it's at. So if we go into system and then we go into developer options, then you can see all the different developer options that you have. And you need to make sure you turn on USB debugging right here. That's the important one. And that will turn on your little Android guy. Also, you can turn on wireless debugging if you want, and that will allow you to have wireless debugging with Godot as well. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Now, if I hit home and I click on my little Android guy, it says, hey, no main scenes have been defined. So let's go ahead and select one. Let's select our Node 2D and go ahead and open that up. So you're going to see it's going to start building it for us, and it's going to go ahead and dump it out to my Android device. So I will be right back. Okay, so you can see that it's loaded. Let's go ahead and click on banner. And you can see our banner has popped up. Perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. If we wait about 10 seconds, it should go away. Awesome. That's what we wanted. So if we go ahead and we click on interstitial, you can see we now have an interstitial that popped up. Perfect. That works great. And if we close this and we click on rewarded, you can see it's fired off a rewarded advertisement, which is great because that means that we can have people watch our videos and we can give them rewards. Now, the question is where does this reward get fired? Right? So if we close this, you can see nothing changes. But we can tell that our reward callback got called because if we come into a command prompt, we open that up, we bring it over here, and we run a regular expression here for our ADB. So if we do ADB -D log cat Godot fan :v space fan :v space Godot :v space asterisk :s. You will see that we just get our Godot, our fan, and our Godot fan callbacks. So it's really useful for debugging. We don't have to deal with all of that garbage that we had to deal with before. And this works for everything. By the way, if you can figure out what the what this value is here, you could just kind of add that at the end and just say :v, and then it'll just pull that data back. So it's just something to keep in mind. But you can see that we had a banner that loaded. We had an impression. We hid that banner. We did an interstitial ad. It was dismissed and it was reloaded. So I'm curious if we click on banner, what happens? Yeah, it reloads it. So that's good. Now, if we come down here, you can see we have a reward ad. It got completed and closed, and we gave them a reward. And if you come into your Facebook ads section and you scroll down, you can see that there's a section called Give Reward. So you can actually inject right here whatever you want to do. So you could go and say, okay, well, let's go set their token value to +1, right? Or something like that. You could keep track of all of that right here, and it would be fine. So, I mean, that's basically all you need to know to integrate Facebook advertisements into your game. You know, from here, you guys have the grounds to do everything. You have everything under you to do all of this. So, If you want to stop here, you guys can. But I'm going to go through and kind of explain this a little bit so you guys can kind of see how this operates. So the first thing that happens is, hey, it pulls back Facebook, or it creates a Facebook variable here. And it creates a Facebook ID variable section here, which is good. So it creates a little object that, or dictionary that holds all of our Facebook advertisement IDs. It's just easier that way. If we come down here, you can see that on start, it comes in here and initializes Facebook. You can see that it's looking for a singleton. If it finds it, then it goes ahead and sets up our Facebook advertisements. And then it loads a reward video and loads a banner. And the reason why it does that is it's trying to preload this stuff so that way you don't have to deal with the system loading when you want to show them a reward video or a banner. It's just smarter to handle it that way. Now from here, it has a bunch of different functions. So it has a function like load reward, right, which loads a reward video, Facebook.load reward video. It has on reward ready. Is Facebook reward ready? True. So it's saying, hey, when the reward is ready, go ahead and, set it so that way we can show that reward video. Now you could just straight up call the reward video from here. So as soon as it loads it, it calls it. And that is a method of doing it. It's not a good method or a bad method. It's just a method. Now, the other one is interstitial. You can see on ready, it does that. On closed, it says, hey, Facebook interstitial is ready is false. So that's fine. You can see here, we got a callback here for on reward closed. And it says, hey, load our reward video. And then if it's completed, go ahead and give them a reward. On reward completed, go ahead and set completed to true. So basically what happens is it's going to give you a callback saying, yep, they've completed it. And then it's going to close. So that way you can make sure that they've actually watched your reward without closing out before you give them the reward. So this is really smart. It says, hey, they've completed the reward. So give them the token once they close. So you could either do it here if you wanted to. You could say, hey, once they complete it, they get the token. Or you could say once they've closed it, if they've completed it, then they get the tokens. It's up to you guys there. Now you can see here, show Facebook rewarded. What it does is it checks if it's ready, right? If it's able to show the video, and then it goes ahead and shows the video. Simple enough. And you can see here, show Facebook interstitial. It checks if it's ready to show, and then it shows the interstitial. Simple enough. Same thing with loading your Facebook banner. It loads the banner, and you can see here that we have a little variable being passed in here for if it's on top. So you could actually load it and say true, and what that would do is that would pass the banner to be on top. And then they have show Facebook banner, which shows the banner, and then they have hide Facebook banner, which hides the banner. Now, something that I think would be fun is if I actually copy this. I know I'm going really in depth here and it's probably not even needed, but I really I like doing this kind of stuff for you guys. So if I come over here and I actually open this up here and I go into my Android and I go into my Godot fan and I actually open up that Java file. You can see if you scroll down here, there are functions that are public void here that directly correlate with what you're trying to do. So you can see Facebook ads init, which directly correlates with Facebook ads init right here. Load interstitial directly correlates with load interstitial. If I can find it, Facebook where is it? Actually, it's weird. They actually don't call it. They must call it inside of here somewhere. But you can call load interstitial from here, and it would work. If you come down here, you can see load reward video. And you can see load reward video right here. Load Facebook reward, right? So this has, if I can find it, has a section down here. And you can see right here, these are all the classes that you can call with this plugin. So one of the things that's really cool is if you ever get a plugin where they don't have any documentation, you can actually come in here and literally look right here and it'll tell you all of the classes. And you can actually come in here and say, let's say hide banner and Control F. And if we find that function hide banner, that's the actual function right here. So it's really useful if you need to understand how things link up. You can actually come in here and say, oh, they got a hide banner. It links to this function and then it runs this little bit of code. So it's really useful for debugging. So that's just something to keep in mind. And I thought you guys would appreciate it. So if you guys didn't, let me know. I'm always, of course, open to feedback if you guys don't think that this kind of stuff is useful. But that is all I have for you guys today. So hey, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. And hey, you know, if you dislike this video, go ahead and hit that dislike button because I am here to make content for you guys. This tutorial, as with all of my tutorials, was a viewer suggestion. So if you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments below and I'm more than happy to get to them. As I've said before, the list is long, but I will always get to your requests. It might take me a while, but I will definitely get to them. And hey, if you have any questions or anything or any feedback that you have for me, throw it in the comments below. Or hey, hit me up on my Discord. Link is in the description below to go ahead and ask me. I'm always looking to help you guys out, and Discord's one of the fastest ways to get a hold of me. But that's all I have for you guys today. So thank you so much again for watching, and I will see you all next time. Thanks.